Hey my good friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today I'm taking my very first test drive in the all-new 2018 Toyota Camry Hybrid. So we're going to take a close look inside and out, take it for a quick drive, and I'm going to tell you what I think. On the matter of styling, there's a lot going on with the all-new 2018 Camry, and when it comes to trim grades and models, they've really changed it up so that depending on which Camry you get, they all have a slightly different look. This is the XLE Hybrid, so we've got a lot of features here that you might not find on some of the others, and we'll start with, of course, the hybrid badge there on the fender. This has the full-size 18-inch alloy wheels, very elegant here on the XLE Hybrid. When we move up front, we've got a metallic grille, which is different from some of the other trim grades. Headlights on this one, this has the full package, which means it's got the adaptive LED headlights, top of the line, rated very good by the IIHS, and we'll get to that here a little bit later in the test drive when we talk about safety. Down here in the center of the grille, we've got the blue highlighted badge, and it really just is a completely different look than you're going to find on some of the other Camry models, let alone the base hybrid Camry. At the rear flanks, the new Camry has a lot more going on than the old one. You can see up here in the roof line, we've got some interesting crease work going on up there that really comes into play on some of the models that have the two-tone roof line. You can really see that, but it does add some pretty nice visual interest there. As we come back around here to the corner, on this model, I've got LED taillights, fully loaded XLE. You can see the hybrid badge right there on the deck lid. And since we're looking at badges here, you'll note that the color blue here is a little bit brighter now on these hybrid emblems. This is something that we've always seen on Toyotas, that blue. It's just something that's quite a bit more accentuated here. And on this rear deck, the Camry letters are actually spelled out in wide form. They tell us they believe that's a little bit more upscale. Looking at the lower fascia, one thing I want to point out just for giggles is the fact that we've got an exhaust outlet down there, a real genuine exhaust outlet, even on the hybrid. And I just point that out because a lot of automakers, well, just one, Volkswagen, they've gone to doing fake exhaust outlets. So at least Toyota's honest when it comes to their design. The interior of the all-new 2018 Camry has been significantly updated as well as upgraded. Here on the XLE, we've got a lot of unique features, and like the exterior, they really do vary the trim and the look depending on the car you're in, and that goes to the bird's eye wood trim that you see here. Now, that's not genuine wood. In fact, it doesn't even really look like wood, but I really do like the way it looks. It's very handsome, especially here with this light tan coloring that we have in our tester. A lot of soft touch stitch trims here and there on the door panels, on the dash, on the console lid here, and these seats. This upholstery pattern, this two-tone leather that you see here is part of the XLE trim grade. I really do like it. It's got some accents in it that tie off of that wood trim, and it really just has a handsome look, along with the black top on the dash and the black top here on these door panels. I love it. And with the sunroof we've got, it's just got a nice airy feel. High quality materials throughout, leather wrapped steering wheel, a lot of options because we are here in the XLE. Way too many things to list. Here in the instrument cluster, we've got a traditional 2-dial setup. In the center, a 7-inch screen. Now, this is part of the top trim grades here. You can completely configure that center screen to any information that you want. Here in the hybrid, you can put your power and your economy information there, in addition to several other things. It's a very comfortable place to sit. These seats are very comfortable in the XLE. They're both power adjustable, and you do have a tilt and telescoping steering wheel that is a manual adjustment. When it comes to livability, the design in here has really been tailored to not only looking good and having an artistic flair, but it's very functional in spite of that. Not very often you find that combination of both design as well as functionality. Here, what we've got, 2 cup holders off to the side of the shifter, so they're not going to interfere with that regardless of what you do. Storage inside here, very good. There's room for at least 6 water bottles in here, a lot more than you're going to find in some of the SUVs out there. And there's a lot of ports when it comes to charging and auxiliary. There's 2 USB ports in here, the high voltage ones. There's also one down here on the dash. This one also has a Qi wireless phone charger and a place to put your phone right there on top. And if that doesn't work for you, you can push that open and there's a big storage area down underneath that. I love that. Big enough for your phone, even the biggest of phones. The rear compartment of the Camry Hybrid's always been a pretty roomy place to sit, and this new Camry very much the same. As you can see here, I've got plenty of space, headroom, pretty good, even though that the roof line on this is slightly lower. So is the seating position. I've got about 2 inches above my head. I'm about 5'9". These seats about halfway forward, halfway back, and as you can see, I've got plenty of leg room here. And the seating position here is actually not as low as you might expect in a sedan like this. It's pretty high, so my knees aren't perched up in a way that I find uncomfortable. And these seats have some good side bolstering, so they kind of hold you tight in terms of, you know, your movement sitting back here. You actually feel like you're sitting in these seats. What's most important to point out here, I think, is the fact that unlike the old Camry Hybrid, these seats fold down now, and that's because the battery is now below the seat here instead of behind it. So you get the 60-40 split just like you would in a regular Camry, and your trunk space in the back isn't compromised because of the hybrid battery. So by going to the hybrid, you don't lose trunk space, you don't lose the functionality of that fold down seat. So that's a big bonus in the new Camry Hybrid over the previous generation. Also back there, there's a spare tire into that rear deck. Again, you don't get a compromise when you go to the hybrid. In some of the competitors out there, you end up losing that spare tire as a result. So I think they've done a good job here in the packaging, the quality of this interior, the design of this interior. I really do think it's top of class now. So this interior gets 5 out of 5 stars. The infotainment system here is something that Toyota offers a lot of different variations of here in the new Camry, and almost all of them are very much tied to your phone and the services you have on your phone, and of course the signal that you've got on your phone. So even here on the highest levels of the trim, we've got this touch screen with the high-end audio and a lot of the Entune 3.0 app suites. And while that's all well and good if you've got a phone and you've got it connected, without your phone and without your connection, you don't have a lot of feature content here. That's the first thing. The other thing is we still do not have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Toyota has yet to come in line with that. It's becoming an industry standard, and they're just being a little bit reticent about adding that into their vehicles. Visibility is actually quite good. I like the fact that it lights up in white, and during the daytime that's very good because the way this is designed, you've got a lot of glare there on the screen, but because it's nice and bright, visibility is actually still quite good. The menus and the layout of this touchscreen system takes some getting used to. It's not the traditional thing. I usually like to have my radio presets light up the minute I get in the car, or at the very least, I like the thing that I looked at last when I got out of the car to be the thing that displays. Instead here, it's very much like Windows. It throws you to the home screen every time the car starts up. You then have to go to wherever you want to be and stay during the course of your drive. I don't really care for that too much. I like a system that stays where you leave it. That's the bottom line. So audio quality here is pretty good, but there are quite a few other things that I think they need to improve, as well as the feature content here. Again, a lot of feature content if your phone is there, if you've got a signal. If you don't have those things and you don't tie it to your phone, not a lot of feature content. So this system gets 4 out of 5 stars. Under the hood of the Camry Hybrid is a revised powertrain, 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, and a new 2-motor hybrid drive system with a continuously variable transmission. Altogether, it's rated at 208 system horsepower. Now, the EPA estimates this year a little bit higher. We're at 44 city, 47 highway, and 46 MPG combined in our XLE here. That's the same with the mid-grade SC. It's worth pointing out, though, if you go with the Camry LE Hybrid, the base model, its MPG is actually quite a bit higher, rated by the EPA at 51 MPG city, 53 MPG highway, and 52 MPG combined. And that's because there's 2 different batteries. On the LE, it gets a lithium-ion battery. Here, as well as the SC, it comes with a nickel metal hydride battery. Why they did that, not quite sure, but this does have a slightly lesser fuel economy rating than you're going to get in the base model. Now, the first question I always like to ask in a test drive is, how does it go? Not bad at all for a hybrid. Not bad at all. In fact, I'm speeding like I shouldn't be speeding in a residential area. Now, that said, what we've got here is 208 horsepower, and it's actually quite a bit more refined than the previous hybrid Synergy drive. And basically this system works as electric when you start off from a stop, when the battery's in full tilt, and it can transition to full gas power and or a combination of both. The electric motor now is far more powerful, which means that when you take off from a stop, you can actually get a little bit more power out of it before you transition into gasoline engine. And the other thing is because the system is more powerful and it's more refined, taking off an electric only power, now that transition comes in. This thing transitions from vacuum cleaner to lawnmower a lot better than the old one ever did. And we've got a sport mode here, which just really gives you all the power you could want. Woo! Now I'm coming up on traffic. Okay, so all playing aside, this is a powertrain that's quieter, it's smoother, it's more refined than before. And driving around town, I really find that the starting and stopping of this engine when it shuts off is almost imperceptible. And that is really saying a lot, because the previous generation Camry Hybrid was one of the less refined ones out on the market. And when you ask for power, boy, you get it. You aren't giving up anything in terms of power with this new Camry Hybrid. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Now, when it comes to fuel economy, rated here in this particular model at 46 mpg combined, in my week with it around town and on the highway, I actually achieved about 45, so not quite the same, but even though I got close to what was promised, it could still be quite an improvement, because here, for reasons I still don't understand, they've given us the lesser of the two batteries because we stepped up into the higher trim grade, so that is a little bit of a disappointment. So powertrain gets 4 out of 5 stars. Now handling. Handling is a bright spot here in the new Camry overall, no matter which one you get, because this is built on an all-new chassis architecture, what they call TNGA, and that means this thing's got a new life to it. This actually has life to it, a little bit of character. It's got steering feel. You can throw it into a curve like I did back there and not worry about, I'm in a Camry. You can actually feel what it's doing, and it rewards you pushing a little bit. You actually get a little bit back out of it when you drive it with a little bit of verve. And around town, it still has that quiet, comfortable ride you expect in a Camry. In fact, it's a lot quieter than before because of a lot of chassis improvements, sound deadening improvements. But when it comes to handling, this has got an improved multi-link rear suspension. It's got an improved strut suspension in front. It's just better all the way around, and it now feels like something not dead to the world. And I hate to say that, but that's just the God honest truth. So when it comes to handling, I'm very impressed, not only with the regular Camry, but the hybrid here. Even though this has low rolling resistance tires on it for better fuel economy, the level of grip's still pretty good. So chassis gets 5 out of 5 stars. When it comes to the measure of quality, it's something I think is very important with these cars. I grip the trim, I slam the doors, I look for body panel gaps. I really pay a lot of attention to how these things are put together, and we've got a very good thing going here. This car fits together well, no rattles and squeaks as we drive around. Now, warranty coverage on these, not the top of class, but it's a Toyota. Anecdotally, are you really going to worry about that? So quality here, I put it 5 out of 5 stars. For 2018, the Toyota Camry now achieves a top safety pick plus on the new higher standards for the IIHS crash safety ratings. That's because it has good in all the crash tests, now including both passenger and driver side on that small overlap test, good headlights, and a superior rating on its crash avoidance systems. All right, my friends, wrapping it up for the Camry XLE Hybrid. This is just so much better than the car it replaces. It just is. It looks better, it drives better, it's got a far nicer interior, and when it comes to what it gives you for the money, I think is far better as well. Here, we top out between $35,000 and $40,000. This is fully loaded, and it just represents a good value, I think. And when I look at this, I compare it against cars like the Ford Fusion Hybrid, and this is miles above that. It just is. Better interior, it drives better, and I think the quality is quite a bit better. The Ford Fusion's just really sort of been falling behind. Now, the new Honda Accord Hybrid, haven't had a chance to drive one yet. We'll be seeing that probably next year. That's going to be a tough competitor, I think. So as we stand right here, though, I think we've got a great value. I put that at 5 stars. When you put that in with everything we've already talked about, we're at 4.5 stars for the review. Very good. I'm Sam Haymar for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the test drive you just saw. I did, even though it's a hybrid. still very much enjoyable to have this thing for the week. Anyway, if you like the test drive you just saw, click right there, see our latest test drive, or if you want to see more from us, click right there on the big round logo and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Either way, stay tuned.